As F. Scott Fitzgerald once said, the rich are different from you and me. Their cars are different too. Here we have 3 limousines built for folks whose pool guy drives a Mercedes-Benz. Each wears an aristocratic British badge. Each has a V12 engine with 6 litres or more under the hood. Each is hand-built in limited numbers, and each is reassuringly expensive. Yet each one of these 3 is built for a very different kind of rich person. Just like you guys.
Well, I'll tell you, Angus, I like the Aston, but for the average person, that could be a Jag, could be a Peugeot. The Bentley looks like an overinflated Crown Vic. This one, though, everybody knows who she is. The Rolls has mega presence. And if you're gonna spend a couple $100 on a car, that's what you want. Plus, it's got twin turbo V12, making what, 563 horsepower? It's a leather-lined rocket ship. It's the obvious choice if you're gonna spend this kind of bucks.
I don't know about obvious. Maybe if you want to be chauffeured around, but if it's my dough, I'm driving the Bentley because it's the best balance. It's the one you can really drive, but also carry a lot of people in. The Aston's cool, but man, those rear seats, I don't know, you can't put too many ladies back there. The Bentley, it's the one that all the rap guys, all the celebrities, that's the one they aspire to. Shoot, I mean, it's in the latest Jay-Z song.
Jay-Z, I'd rather listen to Jay Bond, thanks very much. And when you're talking about someone who knows cars, he's the man. This is the Aston Martin that 007 would use to take his mother-in-law to church on Sundays. And on Sunday afternoon, he'd be driving up his favourite canyon road. This is a driver's car. The extra seats there are for when you need to take people around. He gives it that little bit of practicality. That's the one for me. So I think we know which one we're each driving then.
Yes, so
Let's go.
All right. The Ghost is the first small Rolls-Royce launched since the 1949 Silver Dawn, though small is a relative term. At 212.6 inches, it's still 4.3 inches longer overall than the not insubstantial Bentley CFS Speed, and it boasts a 9.1-inch longer wheelbase. The Ghost is an imperiously elegant car, restrained, tasteful, but with a powerful presence on the road. The front axle is pushed forward and the cabin set back, delivering perfect proportions. And it has the high nose, low tail stance characteristic of classic British luxury cars. In terms of engines, the Ghost's is the best of the bunch. Its 563 horsepower, 6.6-liter direct injection twin turbo V12 drives the rear wheels through the only 8-speed automatic in this trio. With 575 pound-feet of torque on tap at just 1,500 RPM and better gearing, the BMW-developed engine delivers satiny Saturn V thrust the moment you caress the gas pedal. On its home turf in Sussex, England, the Ghost went down the road like silk underwear down a supermodel's leg. But here in the colonies, on roads littered with lateral bumps, freeway section joints, and spoon drains, the suspension constantly transmits a rubbery rumba of shudders back through the body structure that even the passengers will notice. And while that truly epic powertrain provides an effortless surge from the lights, you can find yourself arriving at corners on an empty winding 2-lane way faster than you bargained for. Fortunately, the brakes are simply outstanding, because getting the Ghost to change direction in a hurry, well, it's a bit like making an elephant tap dance. This thing might be the small Rolls-Royce, but it feels strangely less wieldy than the bigger Phantom. Part of the problem, we suspect, could be the Goodyear Efficient Grip run-flat tires, which feel stiff in the sidewalls, but don't seem to offer a surfeit of grip.
At 197.6 inches long and with a 117.7-inch wheelbase, the Aston is dwarfed by the Ghost, but it's still bigger than a Cadillac STS. The lithe, sensuous, impossibly gorgeous Rapide is a near-perfect replica of the concept that all but stole the 2006 Detroit show. And the way the Aston DB9 Coupe's curves have been artfully tugged and teased over a longer wheelbase and around 4 doors is truly breathtaking. Car-savvy Angelinos nearly drove off the road while vying for a closer look every time we hit the freeway. The sports car of this bunch is left gasping by the Rolls and the Bentley. Producing 470 horses at 6,000 RPM, the Aston Martin Rapide's naturally aspirated 6-litre V12 is hardly a weakling, but it feels decidedly undernourished in this company, delivering a 0 to 60 mph time of 4.7 seconds and a 13.2 second quarter mile. The Aston engine displays the typical peakiness of a V12, with its maximum 443 pound-feet of torque not available until a dizzy 5,000 RPM. A 6-speed automatic transmission that has an annoying hole between second and third gears and is not as crisply calibrated as the one in the Bentley doesn't help. The Rapide feels lethargic unless you keep the tranny and sports mode around town or fan the paddle shifters to maintain momentum along a winding canyon road. Apart from pronounced tyre roar at highway speeds, the Aston chassis strikes an unexpectedly competent balance between sports car and luxury sedan. Leave the shocks set in normal mode and the Rapide won't beat you up on acneed city streets. Switch to sport mode and the Rapide amps up the dialogue between driver and road surface. In the twisties, the Rapide feels like a DB9 on Novocaine. Though the steering is still tactile and linear, the longer wheelbase has clearly damped its reflexes.
Next to the Ghost and the Rapide, the CFS Speed looks a little frumpy. It's partly familiarity, as the Continental Flying Spur has been on the road almost 5 years, and parts of LA are awash with the things. But equally, there's no disguising the VW Group all-wheel drive architecture upon which it's built. That's not to say we don't like it, however. Any company that names its performance models Speed is just fine by us, especially when it's not marketing hype. With its 6-litre twin-turbo W12 engine tuned to deliver 48 more horses and 74 pound-feet more torque than the regular Continental Flying Spur, the CFS Speed is a leather-lined, ground-based intercontinental ballistic missile that will hit a genuine 200 miles per hour on the Autobahn without raising a sweat. It also gets massive brakes, retuned suspension, and Pirelli P0 tires on 20-inch rims. Like their counterparts at Porsche, the Bentley chassis engineers seem determined to build a car that defies the laws of physics. Setting the suspension in comfort or normal modes, caramel coats the road impacts from the sports-oriented tires without diluting the precision of their responses. Sport mode makes the ride noticeably busier and generates some noise through the steering during hard cornering, but keeps the body nicely tied down. The Bentley tracks like a bullet train on the freeway, and its behavior on a winding 2-lane road is almost beyond rational explanation. You simply cannot believe a car this big, this heavy, can be this good to drive. How good? Let's just say you have to drive the wheels off the Aston to stay with the big Bentley. True, the CFS works its front tires very hard, and the all-wheel drive layout robs the steering of some clarity. But after an exhilaratingly fast run along a canyon road, you get out of the CFS Speed shaking your head and grinning like a loon at the sheer implausibility of what you've just done.
Well, there's still a lot I love about this whole Rolls. It's huge inside, very comfortable. You really do kind of waft along. And the powertrain is just unbelievable. I mean, with all that torque and horsepower, and the 8-speed transmission is absolutely seamless. And the thing is so quiet. I mean, when I was gunning it up the hill, I could hear myself sweating. It's just brilliant that way. But aside from that, there's some things that really disappointed. The ride isn't that great. There's a fair amount of impact harshness. And above all, the chassis, the structure just isn't that stout. There's a fair amount of quiver, and I really didn't expect that in a $300,000 Rolls. So some things I still love about the old girl, but overall, I don't think she's the winner.
Well, I still love the way it looks, and I like the way it drives. I mean, on these mountains roads, this really does feel like a sports car. But I gotta say, okay, it's a bit of a one-trick pony. It really is a sports car with 4 doors. It's not really a luxury limousine. And a lot of room in the back, so much fun back there. Fun to drive, but it's not the all-rounder.
So I said this one is the driver, the one I'd choose, but man, I don't think I even knew how much it actually is a fantastic drive out here. That B stands for stealth bomber because compared to these other two, it doesn't look as flashy, but up on these canyon roads, man, it is insane. It is so quiet, so smooth, but very, very fast. Perhaps faster than that Aston, I think. It's got everything you need. It's got adjustable suspension, it's got paddle shifters, and it's actually got a lot of room. I mean, way more room than that Aston. And the ride is so much better than the Rolls. It's phenomenal. It really is the best mix of both worlds in terms of being a great drive and being a great people carrier, this is the best one out there.